Last day in this office, 26 years, 412 felony cases, give or take. The boxes are taped, the shelves are empty, and the building super wants the keys by 5. I found the Breedlove file on my desk this morning. That's worth noting because I packed it. Tuesday night, I sealed it in the third box on the left, the one marked 2005-2006, closed. Taped it shut with packing tape. Wrote the date on the seam in Sharpie. I know I did this because I always mark the seam. 26 years, same system. But when I walked in at 7 this morning, the file was on my desk. Open. The deposition transcript on top, fanned out to page 4. The box was still sealed. I checked, tape intact, date on the seam in my handwriting. So, for the record, this is the Breedlove matter. I'm going to put this on tape because I never put it in writing and I'm not going to start now, but I think someone should. I think it should exist somewhere. The case came in September of 2005. Carl Breedlove, 29, charged with aggravated assault in the first degree. He'd stabbed a man named Terrence Polk outside Mulligan's on 3rd Avenue South. One folding knife, 3 wounds to the upper back. Polk went down on the sidewalk. Breedlove ran. A surveillance camera on the pawn shop across the street caught the aftermath. Not the stabbing itself, but Breedlove standing over Polk for about 4 seconds before turning north. The footage was grainy, but it was enough. Polk survived. 6 weeks in a coma at UAB Hospital. Significant blood loss, 1 collapsed lung, traumatic brain injury from hitting the pavement face first. Doctors said cognitive function appeared normal. That was the word they used. Appeared. Breedlove confessed the night of the arrest. Full written statement, Miranda verified, signed on every page. He had a way of talking, odd phrases, sentences left hanging. Said things like, sort of sideways like, instead of at an angle. The confession read the way he talked. Unmistakable. Should have been a straight plea. But Margaret Chen in the DA's office wanted the victim's testimony on the record, new policy that year, so she scheduled a deposition. October 14th. I prepped standard cross. Polk had been in a coma for 6 weeks. Traumatic brain injury. Textbook reliability challenge. I brought 2 recorders to the deposition room, a Sony Digital on the table and an Olympus Micro in my jacket pocket. I've done that since 1994, when a court reporter's tape corrupted and I lost the only impeachment material that mattered in a murder case. After that, I never trusted a single source. 2 devices, always. The deposition room in the Jefferson County Courthouse is windowless. 3rd floor. Fluorescent lights that hum at a frequency you feel more than hear. A conference table with a permanent coffee ring near the northeast corner. Polk came in with his attorney, a man named Davis. Polk looked fine, clear-eyed, steady. Not what I expected from a man 4 months out of a coma. Margaret Chen ran direct examination, standard questions. Where were you on the night of July 23rd? What do you remember? Walk us through it. Polk said he was leaving Mulligan's. Walking south on 3rd Avenue, he heard footsteps behind him close, and then pain. Upper back, right side. He went down. Then he said, I saw the brick pattern on the wall 2 inches from my face as I went down. I wrote that on my legal pad and circled it. The wall of the building adjacent to Mulligan's was to Polk's left. The surveillance footage, which I'd reviewed frame by frame, showed Polk falling forward and to the right toward the curb. His face hit pavement, not brick. The paramedic report confirmed abrasions on his right cheek and forehead consistent with asphalt. Polk described a wall that was behind and to the left of where he fell. He described a brick pattern you could only see from above, looking down, because the lower 3 feet of that wall was covered by a dumpster. I made a note, circled it, moved on. Witnesses misremember spatial details after trauma. It's in every textbook. I've built half my career on it. The deposition ended at 3:47 p.m. I clicked off both recorders, latched my briefcase, that old brass clasp I've had since law school, and drove back to the office. I should have reviewed the tape that night. I didn't. I had 2 other cases on calendar that week, and the Breedlove matter felt routine. That was my mistake. Not the last one, but the first one that mattered. I got to the tape 3 days later, Thursday night. Office was empty. Janet Odom, my paralegal, been with me 11 years, had gone home at 6. I poured a cup of that vending machine coffee that tastes like it was brewed during the Carter administration and sat down with my legal pad. I played the Sony recording first. Polk's direct examination. Standard stuff for the first 40 minutes. Then I hit the section where he describes the attack. He starts with the footsteps. Fine. The impact. Fine. Then he says, and I'm reading from the transcript now, I felt the weight of the handle against my palm before I understood what was happening. I stopped the tape. The weight of the handle against his palm. Terrence Polk was stabbed from behind. The knife never touched his hands. There is no universe in which a man stabbed 3 times in the upper back from a rear approach feels the handle of the weapon in his palm. That's what the person holding the knife feels. I rewound, played it again. I felt the weight of the handle against my palm. Polk's voice is steady, no hesitation. He's not guessing, he's remembering. Then, further into the description, when you push through a leather jacket, there's more resistance than you'd expect. It's not like fabric, it grabs. Breedlove's police confession, page 3, second paragraph. When I pushed through his jacket, it was like the leather kind of grabs. More resistance than you'd expect. I noticed that, made a note, but I told myself Polk had seen the police report. Victims sometimes do. The DA's office shares materials during prep, contaminated testimony. It happens. That was the last time a rational explanation worked. Janet came in the next morning, Friday, and I asked her to pull Breedlove's sealed confession from the safe. We kept the defense copy in a fireproof box, standard for sealed documents. I told her to compare it against the deposition transcript, flag any overlapping language. She was in my office by 9 that night, didn't sit down, put 2 stacks of paper on my desk, side by side. Deposition transcript pages 4 through 7 on the left, confession pages 2 through 5 on the right. You know what she said? She said, Mr. Lusk, I think we have a problem. 43 consecutive sentences, word for word, not paraphrased, not similar, identical, including sort of sideways like, including the sound it makes when, an unfinished sentence that Breedlove left dangling in his confession and Polk left dangling in his deposition, breaking off at exactly the same word. 2 people, one who committed the crime, one who was face down on the pavement 4 seconds into it. Same 43 sentences, same word choices, same grammatical errors, same incomplete thought, abandoned at the same syllable. I spent the weekend eliminating explanations. You exhaust the possible before you touch the impossible. Polk saw the confession, can't be, sealed by Judge Beckwith's order, September 22nd. Only the defense received a copy. DA leaked it. I called Margaret Chen on Saturday. She swore Polk was never shown the confession, never summarized it, never given its contents in any form. She'd put that under oath. Police coached Polk. I pulled UAB visitation logs Monday morning. Between Polk regaining consciousness in the deposition, his mother, sister, a physical therapist, 2 neurologists, and a chaplain. No police, no investigators, no one from the DA's office. I sat in my office Monday night, conference table, the 2 stacks of paper still there from Friday, cold coffee. The fluorescent light over my desk had been flickering for a week, and I hadn't called maintenance. It made the pages look like they were shifting. I read the 43 sentences one more time. Then I went back to my deposition video, watched Polk's face. During normal testimony, the parts where he's describing walking to his car, leaving the bar, the weather, his eyes move. He looks at Chen, at Davis, at his hands on the table. Normal deposition behavior. During the 43 sentences, his eyes lock, fixed on one point, upper left corner of the room, above and behind where I was sitting. There's nothing in that corner. No camera, no window, no fixture. Blank ceiling tile and the seam where two walls meet. But that angle, I pulled up the surveillance footage from the pawnshop camera. The camera that caught Breedlove standing over Polk. I measured the angle. The pawnshop camera was positioned above and behind Polk's body. Upper left from Polk's vantage point if he had been looking up from the pavement. Polk was staring at the deposition room wall as if he was looking through the camera that recorded his own attack. From above, from behind, from the exact position where Carl Breedlove had been standing over him with a knife. I closed the file, went home, didn't sleep. I filed a motion in limine Tuesday morning, sought to exclude Polk's deposition in its entirety. Grounds: testimony unreliable, potential contamination of witness, inconsistencies with physical evidence. Judge Harold Beckwith called a sidebar. Just me and Margaret Chen. No court reporter. Beckwith was old school, 62, on the bench since Reagan's second term. He read the motion, put on his glasses, and looked at the transcript excerpts I'd attached, the 43 sentences side by side, Polk on the left, Breedlove on the right. He read for a long time, longer than it should take. He read it twice. I watched his eyes track back and forth between the columns. Then he took off his glasses and set them on the bench, slowly. "Counselor," he was looking at me. "Where did you obtain Mr. Breedlove's confession?" "Discovery, Your Honor, standard defense copy." "And this was the document sealed under my order on September 22nd. "Yes, Your Honor." A pause. Beckwith looked at the documents again, then at Chen. "This confession has been in my clerk's custody since September 22nd. I checked the access log this morning." Another pause. "My clerk's signature is the only one on that log. The deposition occurred October 14th. He didn't ask how Polk's words matched. He didn't theorize or order an investigation." Motion granted. The deposition is excluded in its entirety. Chen didn't object. She had read the exhibit. She knew what those 43 sentences meant, or rather, that what they meant didn't belong in a legal proceeding. I went to see Breedlove that afternoon. County lockup on 6th Avenue. You buzz in, wait in the hall that smells like floor disinfectant and something underneath it, and they bring your client to a conference room. Breedlove sat down, calm, hands flat on the table, not in his lap like most defendants, palms pressed to the metal surface like he was steadying himself. I told him the deposition was excluded. Good news for the defense. His victim's testimony wouldn't be presented at trial. He didn't react. Didn't ask why, didn't ask what Polk had said. So I told him, "Polk's testimony matched your confession. Word for word, 43 sentences." Breedlove looked at the table, not surprised, not confused, just considering. "Which parts?" he said. "Pages 4 through 7 of his transcript, pages 2 through 5 of your confession." He nodded. Then, "That's not everything, though. There's more he knows." "More he knows about what?" "About that night, about what I did. He knows more than what I told the police." I leaned forward. "Carl, how would Terrence Polk know anything about what you did? He was unconscious, face down. He didn't see you." Breedlove looked up from the table. His eyes were flat, not scared, not evasive, the flatness of a man stating a fact he's already accepted. "I don't think no is the right word." He didn't elaborate. I asked 3 more times. He just shook his head and said he'd take whatever deal Chen offered. The plea came through 2 weeks later. 12 years, parole eligible in 8. Breedlove signed without reading. Chen sealed the deposition transcript, the video, my motion, and the sidebar notes. All of it. Gone. I asked her why. She said because I don't want it in the system. Which brings me to this morning, the file on my desk, the box still sealed. I opened the deposition transcript because it was there, and because this is my last day, and because I have spent 20 years not reading past page 7. Page 8, 3 sentences, in Polk's voice. The court reporter typed them. They're in the official transcript, the one that's sealed, the one no one will ever read. Polk describes a room, not the deposition room, not the bar, not the crime scene. He describes an office, boxes stacked along the walls, empty shelves, a leather chair behind a desk, late afternoon light through a window with blinds that need replacing, and on the desk, a small recorder with a red light. He describes this room, this office, the one I am sitting in right now. The boxes are where he said they'd be. The blinds are broken in the exact spot he described. The leather chair, the recorder. The deposition was taken on October 14th, 2005. Terrence Polk has never been to this office. He has never met me outside a legal proceeding. He has never been in this building. Breedlove paroled in 2013, lives in Mobile. Polk did 3 years on an unrelated charge out in 2019. Tuscaloosa, both alive, case closed, deposition sealed. But page 8, those 3 sentences, Polk described this room 20 years before I'd be sitting in it for the last time. I'm turning off the recorder now. I'm going to put this file back in the box. I'm going to tape it shut and write the date on the seam, and then I'm going to leave. And I am not going to think about what Breedlove said. There's more he